You know what one of the most interesting stories is?
What?
Puppetworks.
Really?
I remember. It's this way.
Oh!
CBE
News at Puppetworks!
My name is Mike Leach, and I'm the chief puppeteer at Puppetworks.
When did Puppetworks start?
Oh, Puppetworks goes back quite a ways. Our roots go back to 1938, which is a very long time ago. But under one name or another, we've been around. Puppetworks itself goes back to like 1980. So from 1980, we were Puppetworks, and we've been in this neighborhood for over 20 years. Actually, Puppetworks itself is Nicholas Coppola, and he's the artistic director at the theater, and he incorporated us in 1980, so he's been carrying the torch ever since. Oh, I started working here about 21 years ago.
What's your favorite puppet?
Oh, I think maybe my favorite puppet to work, forget about the character, working them, a good character to work would be Mowgli from Jungle Book. That's a very well-made puppet, and he does all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, my favorite show, maybe Pinocchio.
Why?
It's got a lot of stuff in it. It's a great story, and that was actually one of the first shows that I saw.
What is the hardest puppet to work?
Well, that's a tough one. Usually the big, heavy ones, the Griffin in The Reluctant Dragon was pretty difficult because he's kind of heavy. Also, little puppets, tiny puppets, are actually hard to work because they don't have weight. So things like the little mouse in this show can get tangled or swing around very easily.
What's the oldest puppet here?
Oldest puppet is probably Pinocchio, who's got to be been rebuilt a few times, but he's got to be over 50 years old.
What was the first show you ever did here?
It might have been Pinocchio, or it might have been something else, maybe Aladdin, but I think it was Pinocchio. Again, that's probably why it's my favorite.
Do you make any of your own puppets?
Mostly I just fix them, because they take a real good beating from working every day, but we make all our puppets right here at Puppetworks.
So how do you get the puppets?
Usually we'll start building them ourselves, or we'll contract someone. A good friend of ours, James Voital, and he makes puppets for us. And Nick Coppola, the artistic director, puts all the clothes on it. So it's sort of a process, and everyone has a hand. I usually string them up, and so everyone works together on the puppets.
How do you do a show when someone who's supposed to do the show is absent?
With great difficulty. We don't. And so that's why it's important in theater. You can't really just call out sick at the last moment and things like that, because in show business, they say the show must go on. And so we believe that. And I've come to work with some bad colds and stuff like that, but you usually get through the show, so we don't have to disappoint the audience.
How do you decide when to use humans in the show?
Usually if there's a good excuse, if there's a giant or an ogre or some kind of character like that, we like to use a human in the show, because it kind of spices it up. In Pinocchio, there's Stromboli, who's the man who runs a puppet show, and then we actually use a human on stage. So any kind of an excuse to get a human in there.
I don't believe you. Come back here, Shadow.
I thought you were a puppet
Come back
too.
here, I said. Don't come back. You'll be sorry.
How many people come to see your show?
Lots of people. We have people come every weekend because we're open Saturdays and Sundays for the public, but we also have school groups and, I don't know, a whole bunch of classes every day, 2 to 3 shows a day. A lot of people come to see our shows.
Do you make the costumes?
Actually, Nick Coppola, the artistic director, makes every costume you see in the theater. And he makes them from little patterns on a sewing machine. And
do you ever make shows about regular modern day life?
Modern is one thing. The most modern we got was I set something in the 1930s, and that was the Reluctant Dragon. But we usually don't do stuff that's from, not because the stories we like to do are classic old fairy tales.
Do you ever make shows about maybe based on a TV show or a movie?
No, because one thing is if someone does a TV show, they kind of own the story there. We stick to fairy tales because they're what's called public domain, and they've been around for hundreds of years, and so anybody can tell their version of that story. And they're so old and known because they were so good. They're classic stories. So we kind of stick to our classic stories.
How many puppets do you have?
Oh, there must be, just in the theater here, we've got to have about 300.
How many people does it take per show?
I thought you were going to eat that. We do the shows with 2 people back there. But we have 3 puppeteers at all times, so someone can get a day off and that kind of thing. But that's just the puppeteers. That doesn't mean putting the show together. It takes more than 2 people. But we perform with 2 people.
About how many people can you fit in the backstage room?
It depends on the size of the people. We can cram little people in there, but for the most part, there's barely room for 2 adults to work a puppet show because we really have to move around. And we've got all those puppets from the show backstage, so it's pretty crowded back there.
Do you write your own script?
We take classic fairy tales and we sort of adapt them. That's what it's called. We adapt them to the stage for puppet shows. I've written some, and a lot of most of the scripts, I think, Nick Coppola has written most of them, but there's been other hands in there too.
Do you sew on the hair or do you put on wigs on the puppets?
Oh, I thought you were talking about me because my hair's it's bad hair day. Works like this. We can use almost anything for hair as long as it kind of looks right. So there's some puppets that even have feathers and things like that for hair. But a lot of times we'll cut down wigs and we sew them right on.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Nice to meet you.
It's a ball.
And I don't think you have a bad hair day.
Oh, thank you very much. Very heavy. He's got to weigh about 75 pounds.
Oh my goodness. Oh my god.
He is about 150 years old.
Whoa.
He was a
Stop
gift from
it.
the theater. Someone sent him all the way from Italy and sent it to us.
Would that be the oldest puppet then?
Yeah, but he doesn't perform. He kind of like just
He
hangs
doesn't
out.
perform anymore.
Because I'm not putting
So
him on the
who's the
stage.
other
I am
puppet
not
you
putting him in a
perform?
show and looking around
Like
75
a wrestler.
pounds.
A wrestler might.
Yeah, I would rather get on the stage and do it myself. So that's why I'm not going to use him as like an ogre or something like that.
Yeah.
And
He's
they're
just
very,
a
and it's all
show.
like solid wood and stuff. And
Oh.
it's the shield and the sword and the armor is all actually made out of metal. When they do these stories, they tell opera stories usually,
Oh.
and then the puppets all fight in big scenes of fighting.
Leader.
And then after the shows, they have to put all the armor back together again. So it's sort of like a smash-up derby puppet show kind of thing. This is backstage.
Those are sort of creeping me.
Oh my gosh. He's pretty.
He's pretty.
Whoa. Lion.
And I just want you to be careful, pay attention to where you are.
It's not that.
Who's touching anything?
Now,
I knew there was a ladder. I didn't mean to.
Now, well, everyone listen up. Okay. So that's why there's so many hooks and so many different places to hang puppets back here. And our drops are in front of us, and we roll them up or drop them down. We have a rack in back of us, and we can hang them in front. That item over there, that's the lighting board.
Oh, to get the lights on.
Right, exactly. So it's got all those buttons and all that.
So
we have
would
to
somebody
remember
have to go
press.
like that?
Just to hit the light. It's computerized, so usually we just hit the cue, that's what it's called, and the lights will work all by themselves. This is a little thing you might have seen this guy. I kind of do a little run through when school groups come, and I tell all the kids how to work a puppet before we even do the show. That way there's no secrets. But he's a standard marionette like all the others. There's 9 to 13 strings on each one of them. And they got strings for doing all sorts of different things. First thing we'll start with his hand. And if I pull on the string, it goes up. And if I pull on the string, it goes, and I go down, the other hand goes up. That's one running string, so that way during the show I can get both hands to work at the same time. And you can cut that out. Yeah, that's enough. Hey, that's enough there, kid. Hey, yeah, I'm up here. Pay attention. All right. Let's see what else we got here. We got you got strings on his head. In fact, take a look here. Those are the main strings that are holding the puppet up. The head. That's the important thing. And if I hold the control like this, You can see he's even balanced. It's the head that holds him up. But if I use shoulder strings to take the weight off of his head, I can make his head look down. And if I turn the control, I can get him to look sideways. I can get him to look up. I can get him to look down.
What got hit?
So he can look all around.
Can we use a girl puppet?
He's got leg strings. Those are attached to the knees. And they go up here to the leg bar. If I rock the bar from side to side, I give him a little bounce.
Make him walk. Oh
So
my
that's how we
goodness.
make him look like-
Make him walk.
If he wanted to jump, he would just kind of bend his knees and jump.
No.
He can kneel down.
Oh my
He can kneel
goodness.
on 2 legs.
He's up there.
He can just walk goofy. I don't know what that is. What are you doing actually? He's just walking goofy.
He's drunk.
He can do a little dance there.
I've seen the puppets do that so many times.
I feel like one of his,
He's got chest strings.
I feel like his leg is broken. Oh
Shoulders. You take the cat. And you rock it from side to side. Look at his legs. So now you move him forward. Move him down to the next person. You take him over.
But he's
You
not
want to do it the
touching
same
the
way.
floor.
You want to go like
He's
so? Right. You always
flying.
want the marionette has to touch the floor. You can bounce him. You can see he feels like he's on the floor. And then if you rock it from side to side, he'll look like he's walking.
Can we try a human puppet? Like, not a human puppet, but like a person puppet.
Yeah, like that. Wait, can we each have our own
but
to
I'm
play
sorry.
with? So how do you do? Can we each have our own?
No. Stage is too crowded. Take a look here.
I wish we
Take this
could.
top bar. Put your hand there. Rock it from side to side. Look
Can
at
I
that.
play a
You've
girl?
You've got him walking.
Drew, be happy that you were getting to play with a puppet.
Yeah. Okay, pass
And
it
as long
on.
as you don't let him sag, don't let him. There you go. He's up on his feet. And now-
That's
now
so
you got it.
cool. Well, that was really cool.
Wait, how did you see her flashback?
I don't know.
Maybe you're psychic.
Yeah, maybe I am. Buy the back scratcher. It spills oil down your back. It does. And it's only for